Hi folks, it's James here, and just a quick video on a topic which has occurred to me recently. Just been thinking about vinyl singles, 45s. Generally speaking, 45s are not the kind of lifeblood of the VC. People mainly show albums, talk about albums, and what really occurs to me when I go record shopping, vinyl singles, if you go to a charity shop, vinyl singles don't seem to have any particular, value. This one here I bought today, Cracking Up by Nick Lowe, classic British single, and there's the label. And this cost me 99p. Today also, same shop, Messages of Love by The Pretenders. Picked that one up today, 99p. This one, absolute classic, Fun Boy 3, Summertime, 99p. One of the greatest British singles of all time, Aztec Camera, Somewhere in My Heart, 99p. All picture sleeves, all in good condition. This one, again, this is Bananarama with the Fun Boy 3, really saying something, 99p. So you can see where this video is heading. A while ago, a few years ago, charity shops seemed to get wise to the supposed value of vinyl records. Back in the 90s, say for example, I picked up my David Bowie LPs back in the 90s. I think they cost about £2.50 each. And at some point after that, I seem to remember starting to realise that these albums had vanished from charity shops. Occasionally you would see them on the wall, priced increasingly at crazy prices, just going up and up and up all the time. But vinyl singles don't seem to have followed suit. Now clearly there are, there is a collector's market for 45s, rare funk singles and soul singles, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, all the great singles that came out, the pop singles that came out from the 60s through to, well, maybe from the 70s through to, say, the late 80s, you can find them dirt cheap. You can pay a little bit more for, Beatles singles, Rolling Stones singles, but I can pick those things up. Generally speaking, I can find those things for £3, £4. Last week I picked up Spencer Davis Group, Keep On Running, and I think that was about £3. This one today, I bought this was £3.99 for Cool for Cats by Squeeze on the original red vinyl. This kind of comes from that great rich period of the late 1970s when punk bands and new wave bands were doing coloured vinyl singles, which have become a little bit more collectible. But even that, £3.99, it's not really much, is it? The question that I'm asking in this video is, at some point, are people going to cotton on to the potential collectability of 45s? Will we see the prices increasing? At the moment, they're just kind of seen as just being almost rubbish. They're just kind of shoved in these racks. Nobody really cares about them. Nobody really bothers about them. And I talk to younger collectors on the vinyl community, and they're not particularly interested in 45s. The LP is still seen as being the main thing to collect. But if you're of a certain vintage, people who grew up with records back in the 1960s, or actually, going back to the 1950s, it was always to do with singles and vinyl singles. Albums came later. The whole pop revolution, rock and roll revolution was built on the 45 single, and the jukeboxes in the coffee bars and all that kind of thing. And they were seen as being just a great thing to own. They were iconic, I suppose, and they seem to have lost most of their appeal, which is why you can pick them up cheaper than you can, CDs. If you walk into Oxfam now, you can pick up CDs for a couple of pounds. You can pick up a classic vinyl single for 99p. A while ago, I think it was Chris, Dixieland Farm, I saw a comment from him on somebody else's video, and he said something like, at some point down the line, somebody's going to realise, or this collective realisation is going to occur, that 45 singles are actually very, very desirable items, and that they are things which at some point down the line they're going to become collectible. And that kind of made me wonder, maybe there's a video in this asking that question. At some point, maybe, what do you think? Do you think at some point, say if we kind of fast forward 5 years, we're going to suddenly find people just fighting each other to get hold of these amazing little artefacts, which at the moment just seem to fall completely under the radar of lots of collectors? There's certain reasons to think it might not happen. The big reason, I think, is that you don't get much bang for your buck. You know, you buy a vinyl single, you've got 2 songs, you might only have 6 minutes of entertainment, and you don't really get much for your money. But then again, the logic of that is not necessarily sound, because if you look at a lot of classic albums from the 60s, you know, Beatles albums, those records are actually quite short. You know, I think Revolver, I don't know how long it is exactly, you know, but it's probably about half an hour long, and yet people will pay hundreds of pounds for original versions of that record. So clearly, you know, the ratio of the length of the album or the record to how much it is worth, there's no direct correlation there. So in that respect, you might say, well, there's no reason that is no particular reason to think that in the future singles will not become worth a lot more. Just because it's just 2 songs, 1 song on each side, people still might end up paying a lot of money for these things once, I don't know, like a fashion or a trend kicks in and people start thinking, actually, these are pretty damn good, cool little artifacts. You know, often people buy singles not to even play them. They just buy them to have them. It's almost like buying or collecting badges or stamps. You know, you buy them for the artwork, you buy them to just have in the collection. So, you know, there might be more of a future in that. And also, one thing to bear in mind as well is that it's really hard to find singles in good condition. It's hard to find LPs in good condition, but singles often were used. You know, I mean, back in the day in the UK, I used to take my singles to the school discos, and you know, I mean, they used to get messed up. It's quite hard to find a 45 single in good condition nowadays. You know, you're normally looking at staining on the cover and rips, and the actual vinyl itself is often not in very good condition, so that might tell against the idea of these things becoming collectible. But I just thought I would throw it out there as just a kind of thing for people to jump on or not, as the case may be. What do you think? Do you think vinyl singles are going to come into a new renaissance or a lease of life? Are we going to, in a few years' time, are people going to be showing singles a lot more and talking about them and avidly collecting them? Or do you think that they are just going to be, you know, destined to be forgotten and carry on existing in those 99p racks that you find in Oxfam? So anyway, yes, I would love to hear your thoughts on that one, and that's it. Take care. Bye bye.